Hello and welcome to another video. In this video we're playing some Serenity Shadow, which is Hatred Assassin. Some of these videos are pretty good, I would say. We have 4 games I think here. Yeah, I think there's 4. There's this one where it's all solo queue. Then I believe Lily asked me to play and I said sure. She wants to kind of get better and I was like, yeah, I mean I can try to help you. So I queued up some matches with him. And if he tried to play Hatred, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what he was playing. He did find a Deception, and then Hatred I think wasn't as good. But regardless, we played some games with him. Some of the games were actually pretty cool, pretty fun. So I felt like it was a great chance to showcase that. Anyway, going into Depth Field, since I'm using Phantom Stride and Force Speed and Opener there, which is usually not great, especially if you're going on elevation, the double tap drop, didn't work correctly, and I kind of forget about this all the time, that this game's just not perfect. So most of the time the double tap drop AoE is not going to be very accurate at all, so it'd be much better for me to manually click and drop it myself. We ended up losing this round, and it's mostly just because our team got completely decimated. I had no idea why we did that. To me, it would just make way more sense for our team to stay back, but I guess they were rushing with us for some reason and hitting God knows what because this guy still has ED. I figured he didn't have ED, I would get a kill here, and then it would be a 1v1 against the other assassin. That would have been pretty cool because I haven't really, 1v1'd any other assassin as Hatred in a very long time. And I mean a very long time. I think it would have been interesting. Obviously, Deception is going to have a way better time, but there are some kiting maneuvers that I can do on Hatred that would have made it at least interesting. But sadly, this guy still has ED, and our team accomplished nothing. So very, very weird. Anyway, moving into this round, we kind of actually focus up, and things are better. I basically ask him, is you guys have enough defensives, they both have enough defensives to last longer than what they did. Basically just didn't hit defensives and just let themselves get killed. That's terrible, don't do that, please. I sit here and I wait before I open, I think, or I think I get a good opener, yeah. It's this guy actually comes down in the open where I can force them to stack a little bit. My whole ideal is I really want them to stack. I don't mind being the target, I just want them to stack. So that ends up actually happening, and that's a complete W for us. They stack, I just automatically win the game. But pretty much any other time, when they're all spread out like that, that's just not a win for us. This is so much worse for us, and I'm not able to peel for them. It's I do have AoE taunt, right? At the very least, I can give them taunt, so then I can actually just manually taunt whoever I'm actually hitting. So I can actually support them in a way, and then I can also force speed slow them so they get stuck in my cleave. But still, at the same time, them being spread out like they were in the first round was just terrible for me. And if we just win that round super easily, no thought really required. Now all we need is for our team to stay together. Once again, for the 3rd round, I'm going to try to catch them if they all group up. And that's only because I know I have enough CC immunity to stall until my ally actually comes and helps me. So opening up is completely fine for us because we don't want them to open up on the chug. The chug will probably just die in the global. So pretty much better for them to try to use their CC on me or something and belling. This is also a lot better for my Depth Field too, so it's kind of hard for me to miss it here. Pretty much always hitting somebody with it. And yeah, the Sentinel just doesn't want to pop anything. The Sork on our team doesn't want to pop anything. I don't really understand these players. I would love to, sit here and teach people, but these people probably are never going to see a Swtor PvP video, much less care about their performance or whether they want to win. So no, don't worry about that. But if you do play a Sork in Arena, obviously all the DR talents. If you're not very good at Sork, all the DR talents is a must. Don't go for damage if you don't know what you're doing. run all the damage reduction talents, and try to survive for as long as you can. You're much better to the team if you can soak up a lot of damage. Even if you can't do good damage, soak up damage. And the only times that you should be really worried about learning how to do damage is when you're free casting. A lot of chances you play the game, you're going to be free casting. So in those free casting situations, you need to be able to do damage. So still figure out how to do your damage, but prioritize learning how to use your defensives and surviving as long as you can. Because that'll be way more effective and way more useful, and on top of that, increase your win rate like tenfold. The majority of, I want to say like season 10, season 11, season 12, even season 13 and 14, pretty much from past season 10, where burst kind of like fell off a little bit. Obviously burst was still really good, but the meta of just playing off heal specs and self-healing and stalling out the match became a meta that kind of plagued the game. The previous like first 10 seasons, you didn't really see that very much. There wasn't like a lot of self-healing. There wasn't like a crazy amount of people just playing self-healing classes and just self-healing and stalling. That wasn't actually a thing. It wasn't until like kind of started in season 9, and then season 10, it went absolutely crazy. Where you'll see like 4 stall classes and their only job is to soak up as much damage as they can. And if they can soak up more damage than you can do, they just automatically win. Like they don't even have to be good. They could be doing the worst DPS ever, but eventually they'll just outlive you because they have better defenses or just a better healing kit. So you'll see like a lot of mercenaries and whatnot. That strategy only wins because of the meta state. The same thing still goes for now, especially in 4 DPS. That is still very much so a thing. So it is definitely worthwhile to understand how important that is. The only reason that it would be different is if you're playing like a heal DPS game or a tank DPS game where damage is going to be a little bit more important. And then on top of that, if you get good at healing, maybe that could be your thing. It could be like off healing lethality operative or madness or something like that. That could be your thing, and you can actually just win through that. But not all the time is it a good idea. So for example, when you come to tank kill games, it's like the classes that only do damage, they need guard. Like guard is the most important thing. Doesn't matter if you're a skink tank. I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm a skink tank, so I don't do this or do that. But no, it's not true. The whole point of playing a skink tank was to do more damage. It wasn't to make your role completely useless. So for example, even back in the day in like 2.0, where you would do this, you'd be dropping guard, right? So you wouldn't be in Surusu form or whatever stance it was to guard, but you would immediately swap to that stance to guard instantly whenever somebody needed it. Even in those situations, that didn't work out most of the time. Most of the time it only worked because the enemy team wasn't very good. So guarding, especially in today's day and age, is a mandatory part of tank. Like you can't play tank, can't play tank for damage, you can't do any of that without guarding. Like functionality wise, your role is basically hindered in a way that your damage is never going to be as good as DPS unless that DPS is bad, and you should always be focusing on guarding because your defensive kit is just way better than everybody else's. So therefore you can sacrifice some of your defensive kit to give power to those classes that don't have a good defensive kit, like Hatred. And this guy actually starts guard swapping, and we end up just winning this match just because of it. So thank you. I appreciate you. You watch Swtor videos or anything like that, and you know, this guy know that I appreciate him. All he had to do was guard. He did it, and we win. And I am just thrilled that, you know, somebody actually listens for once. And also, if you want to win arenas, like you're just trying to get your arena, if you're just trying to get your arena weekly, or just like in general get done with like arena achievements or whatever it is, play a tank. Honestly, you don't have to be a great tank. You don't have to be amazing. You don't have to be great at the game to farm arena ones. If you want to win a lot of games and just have an easier time, play like mitigation tank. Run all the talents that you can that will basically debuff the enemy. So for example, if you're playing Vanguard tank, stealth scan, it's great. It's really bad into range, so it's not fun to play it in solo queue. However, it can be really fun. Play mitigation, Juggernaut tank. You can go a little bit more damage, but some mitigation is still pretty good. Make it a little bit harder for you to get tank tunneled. Learning your defensive kit, using your defenses correctly, and on top of that, just guarding people. You need to guard swap all the time. Learning all that, it's a lot to do, a lot to learn, but the skill floor for making it passable to win when you have a good player on your team is very, very low. But when playing it properly and well, the skill ceiling goes up high, like really high. I would say one of the hardest things to play right now and most important things to play is tank. Tank is so important. It'll make and break a game. So when you get really good at it, it'll pay off tenfold. So it is definitely something I would recommend if you're interested. You're not really into healing, you're not really into DPSing. Maybe mitigation is more your style. Help save your allies. Use your control to basically essentially stop damage windows. For example, somebody pops explosive fuel on AP and they're about to do a lot of damage. You can hard stun them. You can make sure that you get a choke and a backhand during their fuel to lower the damage for that window. Or if they're playing like Lightning Stork and they pop polarity, you can make sure you try to CC them out while they're on their polarity or knock them off a ledge or something. Like there's a lot of things that you can do to mitigate damage, and there's a lot of different ways that you can mitigate the damage. For example, when it comes to somebody playing like AoE thermal detonator or just playing pyro, trying to line up your Aegis Assault Azorb. So for example, if you're playing Juggernaut tank, you can use that ability to tie it with thermal detonator. So every time you use thermal detonator, you basically give everybody a static barrier, which will absorb majority, if not all, the damage from thermal. Effectively making the AP player not very useful, which is crazy to think about how strong that actually is. But at the same time, you're playing Juggernaut. Juggernaut's a little bit more of a bully than it is like effectively a mitigation tank. And then you also have things like stealth scan, which is huge. It's very melee oriented and helps counter melee. It's also nice to drop on a sniper, but they can always just get out of it. But if they can't afford to get out of their entrenched or whatever, you can kind of just nerf them. And if they get out, they can get stunned. So it is something to think about. It can be very good. And then Assassin's a little bit more mitigation heavy, but it also has reliance on stealthing out. Assassin's probably the only tank I wouldn't recommend playing unless you're playing off a healer, because it needs a lot of awareness, like a lot of situational awareness, using your cooldowns properly, and also just in general being able to do damage to increase your self-healing so you don't just flat out die. Because you will just flat out die. It can mitigate, but it doesn't really have a way to get its health back. Not effectively without damage. So most of the time you'll basically want to avoid that. But when it comes to PT and Juggernaut, they're usually pretty straightforward. And if you were the solo queue, I'd recommend Juggernaut. I also think it's kind of funny that we end up just killing the Mercenary still there. I don't really understand what's going on. He doesn't have guard. Guard's on the assassin there. But I'll take it, you know. They stacked up for my cleave a little bit, but unfortunately they're still like double shroud. I'm pretty sure one of them is taking... Yeah, this one's not. The other one, this guy right here, is taking the damage reduction on Voltaic slash or whatever they call it. You see damage reduction. Or maybe it was the other one. At some point, they are running the DR. And that DR is really good against sorcerers and dots just in general, because it gives you elemental and internal damage reduction that works really well. You don't really get much DR available in the game that work for both elemental and internal. So Deception's like in a decent spot if it actually takes that talent against like Sorks and like dot classes. It does lose some damage, but it's still pretty good. Now this one is a little bit harder. I would say their team is stacked against us. I think this is like first time he's playing Hatred. I don't think he really knows exactly what he's doing just yet. And then on top of that you have a little bit of lag like when I first entered combat. I don't know what that was. I noticed it was happening all day though. And our Mercenary just kind of just dies with energy shield and guard. I don't know what's up with that. That was really silly. The assassin does give tank, or it gives the other guy guard, but he really should have gave it to me, which I don't understand, but that's okay. Get my stealth out and get some regen. Out of stealths now though. And things are not looking too great for us because we don't have a kill, and at best here we might get like 1 or 2. I believe we lose this round, and the next round's much better. And then in this situation we're just so screwed that their jug tank actually went and healed. It would have been better for our assassin to go after the jug tank that went to heal, because then we probably could have won this, but fortunately that's just not how things happened. But I get put in a good position where I can kind of like prolong this fight and we can actually get some stuff done. Unfortunately it's just not enough. I thought we also killed the assassin, but unfortunately I didn't get a raised proc yet. I was thinking it was ready, but didn't have a dot, so I kind of got screwed, which is awful. And I get kind of mad at this guy because he's just not guarding. Like, this is the second match that I've played in a row that nobody wants to guard me, and then when they finally do guard me, we just win. His only job is to guard. And I'm not mad at the person for not doing it. I'm mad that twice now I've not been guarded, and it's the only thing that they need to do. They don't need to do anything else. They can do no damage for all I care. They just have to guard. And I see that this guy is at least competent enough to do PvE, so he understands that he needs to guard. Ow. Now I tell him that mitigation tank is completely pointless, and it is if you're not guarding. If you're just trying to do damage as mitigation tank, it is completely pointless. You'll never do any damage, you'll never do anything meaningful. You need to guard people, and if you do not guard people, you're essentially useless. You're wasting up a slot on the team that could be used for damage or healing, which would be way more beneficial than a tank that doesn't guard. So now this time, this mercenary is kind of like kiting guard a little bit here, but thankfully the assassin starts moving. And then from this point on, like, this guy actually uses his defensives, thank God. Amazing. It's crazy that 2025 we have to worry about mercenaries using their defensives, but that is just the state of the game. When it comes to competitive games, you're probably just not going to get them in Arena unless you're playing, you know, 4-stack and there's another 4-stack. There's just a lot of players that have played Arena. There's, unfortunately, no matter what, even if this game is old, doesn't mean that everybody knows how to play, and doesn't mean everybody, you know, has played Arena that much. And that is just the state of, you know, not having ranked. It's none of these players' faults, and I don't really fault them at all. They're, you know, in the right spot. This is where they should be. This is where they should learn. And no matter how much I might expect something, it's totally unreasonable for me to usually expect that from them, because chances are this might be their first, second, third. They've never really played Arena in general, or they're only doing it because they get the rewards. But yeah, it's a weird one for sure, and we end up winning this one pretty easily. Mercenary uses his defensives, that's all I had to do, and we win. Now the next one, I believe the Mercenary ends up dying, and it comes a little bit better, and the Assassin plays pretty well, and I'm excited because like, he's just played so much better, and he kind of understood that his job, just guard people that take damage. He doesn't have to focus on anything else. It's completely, you know, pointless. And I tell the lady here that you can use his Eradicate through Reflect. So our Eradicate is the 1 second one, so we can do like 100k with Eradicate during the 100% crit window, and that can just go right through Reflect, so mercenaries can just flat out die against Hatred. Something I was pretty sure he didn't know, so I just wanted to make sure that he knew. And then also there's you know, for anybody that doesn't know that, Power of the Force and Halted Offense also does that, by the way. You guys didn't know that. In this situation, they open him. He gets guard way too late, honestly, but it's okay. He bumps his med back and uses his deflection. All he's going to do is try to stall, and then I guess getting out is okay, but he could have fought back at least a little bit. This does force me to play a little bit more defensively, so what I'm doing here is something that I used to do in Solo Ranked. And it's kind of annoying. This is what I would do on PT2 if I was forced in this situation, but it's a situation where I don't want to stealth and I know I can, but I don't want to, so I just want to make it really annoying to hit me. So I'm just abusing this little pillar here, and it works. It kind of gets them off my back for a little bit, which is perfect. And if they hit me again, I'm going to probably go back there again. That place is a pretty nice place to be, but also at the same time, I burned my Shroud for damage here, because we really needed to kill. We're taking way too long, and I'm not getting guard, which is horrible. So in this situation, we're kind of screwed. But I get my AoE DR off, or my 30% DR through my AoE taunt, and they finally gives me guard. That was super scary. I would have loved it if he guarded me sooner, but I understand, you know, again, it's probably not much of a fear, so it's a little bit awkward for him. This guy pops Shroud at like 1%, it was kind of weird. Get a Legion Strike kill, it's not really what I wanted. Get more healing if I had dots on him, but he had Shroud up, so I wasn't going to waste a GCD. I need that second wind heal as soon as I can. And then in this situation, it's 2 versus 1. Our Sen tank is pretty healthy. They're not hitting me for some reason, they're trying to hit the tank, which just means I get even more healing from the Mercenary. And then it kind of just seals the Jug tank's fate. So even if he does kill the mid tank, he's pretty much dead anyway. And again, to anybody that tanks and doesn't guard, I don't have a problem asking for guard or saying what I said. It's not meant to be offensive. It's just your one job and you don't do it, everybody's going to get upset at you. We don't, like, I don't know, like some people might actually hate you, but I don't. I don't care. If you want to guard, great. If you don't want to guard, fine. But you're going to be the reason that we lose. And then in this game, we end up running into a 3-man Vex pre-made. This was a interesting one. It took my team a very long time to come and help me, but I'm okay with that, to be honest. It's not very scary, and it doesn't seem that they're running down explosions, so I don't have much to worry about. And unfortunately, our Juggernaut doesn't seem to be using offensive globals. He really needs to get a second leap off. He finally did. But basically, when you're playing Juggernaut, leaps are extremely important, and in this situation, we've just gotten such a big opener that they're all kind of screwed. It's just a time-based thing now. There's only the Sork that was actually out of range. Funny enough, the one person that wasn't in the 3-stack was out of range of cleave. So at this point, we're just playing cleanup. They do a stun on me, which is unfortunate for me, but regardless, we still have damage going out, so we're fine. Play this guy's unnecessarily tanky. Which, by the way, when I get that last raid reveal, it's going to be a common thing for this match. It's not a very long one, but I do catch him. Like, I predict where he is. And that's one thing that you'll notice about certain stealthers. They're just not very sneaky with their stealth, and you'll be able to predict them. A lot of classes used to have a way to pull people out of stealth. So if you're good at predicting where they were, you would get rewarded for it. And Assassin's still one of the ones that has at least something to help them pull people out of stealth, but there used to be a lot of tools that we had that got pruned in 7.0 that would help you. Like on Jet DPS, without taking Sleeping Slash, there's no way for you to really reveal stealth like that anymore. You can't just spam Sleeping Slash when they stealth out. You have to take the talent, which I don't want to do. And it kind of sucks that they did that. I really wish that some things didn't get burned the way they did. And then I predicted he wasn't going to use Bear for some reason, and I just go for reset strike, and he's dead. I really didn't expect him to die. I just guaranteed at least I'd try to break a med pack or something. And then this guy's also screwed. It's crazy that both the Storks have already died. This guy's screwed. He goes for a stuff out, and I'm like, okay. And he reveals over there to kill our guy behind the wall there. In this situation, I know that he's only got one stealth left, so he's completely screwed. I go for him. He stealths out, and I'm like, okay. So if he's not here, he's over to the right, and I guessed right. So he either goes that way or he goes the other way. Either way, he's probably gonna get caught. And these Vex people they've been around for a really long time. You would think that they would know better, but it's always nice getting a reveal like that. Anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll catch you guys again probably tomorrow.